Okay, let's start with Aries. Me, mine, gimme. Gimme, mine. Let's have fun. Gimme. Okay, Aries, done. Taurus, the best sign there is. Taurus, no. Is that food? Gimme. No. I won't do it. Rub my feet. Gemini. What do you think of her? I don't know. What do you think of her? I like her. I hate her. I like her and hate her. Me too. Cancer. Would you like some food? Let me mother you. Here's a massage. Ooh, you hurt my feelings. Stop hurting my feelings. That hurts. Stop it. Want some food? Leo. Hi, everyone. It's me again. You're so lucky that I'm here. Virgo. Can I get you anything? Libra. Hi everybody. You want to have sex? I mean, just friendly sex, nothing like, just to be friends. Scorpio. Just checking my area, see if I'm safe. Scorpio. No, you didn't hurt my feelings. No, not at all. I hope you have a really, really good day. Sagittarius. Oh God, my mama's a Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. Sagittarius watching The Cosby Show. I gotta go travel. Capricorn, how much does that cost? I'm really good at that. I could do that. I could work for you. I could do that. I could work really hard for you and make a lot of money for you and make a lot of money for me too. And how much does that cost? I'll do it. That's fine. I'm not hurt by anything either. Nothing hurts me because I'm a Capricorn. Aquarius. Oh. Aquarius. Oh, too hard. No Aquarius. Aquarius is like Einstein. Aquarius. Okay, enough said? Brilliant, and don't touch me. I love all of you. Just don't touch me. I want to save all of you, but don't breathe on me or touch me. I don't like the human contact so much. Pisces. Okay, everyone, take a deep, deep inhale. And let it go. Breathe in the good fairy juice. Breathe out the bad troll monsters. Do you have any drugs? Zodiac. Thank you.
This is amazing to me, extraordinary. I never would have dreamed when I played Melosa, 95, nearly 10 years ago, that I would end up in California doing this. It's, wow, you know. And, she was so great to play because before that I'd done a Hercules, but I played like this sexually deviant queen, which was great, but I didn't get to kick ass. So then they offered me Melosa, and it was, and we want to put you in an amazing Amazon outfit, and we want you to beat the crap out of these guys. And I went, oh yeah, this is fantastic, and you're going to pay me. It was like, it was a dream job. It was so great. And I think, because I'd done a bit of physical devised theatre for a couple of years before this, I was really excited by learning the stunts, and I didn't find it too hard, except I didn't know how to pull my punches. So somebody who became a dear friend left one day with his stomach completely bruised from me bashing him and not being able to pull back. So it was an incredible blast to do it. And then I got to do Talia, who was the cowgirl. So not only did I get to kick ass, I got to ride a horse. So, but my pants were so tight that every time I got on the horse or kicked, they split. And I couldn't wear boy shorts because you'd see the line. And I think in the end we had to sew a gusset into them just so that we could do the action. It was very funny, but I was frightened to move in case anything happened. And then Kahina, which was amazing. We went to this location, and New Zealand is not so big, and I think I've seen a lot of it, but I went to this place, and it would take us 2 hours to get to set in the morning, and an hour of that would be off-roading, and it was like being in the Sahara Desert or something, and so incredibly beautiful driving back along the beach in the evening with the sunset. It was a gift of work. To work on Xena was just a wonderful gift, a great experience. Yeah.
Renaissance completely changed the landscape for actors in New Zealand and for crew as well, but I can't speak for them. For actors, suddenly, we're a small country, we don't make a lot of television and a lot of film, and suddenly there was this company churning out's the wrong word actually, but making continually, needing new actors, making new episodes every 2 weeks, and there were 2 shows going, and then a couple of other shows came that it completely changed the landscape, and we've really felt it since they've gone, because for those of us who are lucky enough to work on it more than once, you knew that they were clever enough to disguise you enough to use you again. So, yeah, we've really felt the loss of it, having gone. Yeah, we're all a lot more unemployed than we used to be. Legacy was shot at this place called Potu, which is north of Auckland and then way out on the coast. So we would have to drive from Dargaville, where we were staying, which means nothing I know to Americans, but to the coast, it would be an hour. And this is already 2 hours north, or hour and a half north of Auckland. And then we'd have makeup, and then we'd have to drive another 45 minutes in a 4-wheel drive out into this kind of desert land. It's beautiful, extraordinary place. I've never seen anything like it, and I didn't know anything like that existed in New Zealand. was like, it was like being in the desert. The dunes were huge and the colours were amazing. Yes, it was all shot there. A little bit in the studio back in Auckland, but most of it was exterior stuff that I remember. And it was a fierce location, windy, like being in a desert, the sand and heat. Yeah, so everyone was a bit windburnt and sunburnt, but pretty amazing place, very beautiful, yeah.
Hey, I'll sing a little Māori song then, okay? This is a song you sing, it's the only one I know when people die and their spirit leaves. Yeah, okay. I'll just sing a little bit. No, I'm scared. Hey, thank you. Yeah. Purine e te hau, haruia e te ua, whiti whiti ai e te rā, mahia a kenga, pūraruraru. Ma kere ana ngā here, ma kere ana ngā here.
All right.
In the fight with Lucy as Melosa, you mean? No, Lucy and I fought for some of it, which I was saying earlier. Was very funny. We lost the fight. We completely forgot the choreography, and but we tried to keep going. It was stupid. Like, no, you stop, and they cut, and we start again. But so by the time they cut, we were just giggling hysterically because we had no idea what we were doing. I think I got overexcited, and so we too actually did quite a lot of that fight. We are fighting, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had such an interesting journey over here. I always do, because needless to say, it's a good 12-hour flight from my country, and then there's the whole rigmarole of packing up the house, getting to the airport, getting on the flight, getting my rental car, killing most of LA to get here, and all of that. And I thought I was doing pretty well. I dropped my cat off at the cattery, and I packed up my car, and it was a bit of a sad day for me because I just broke up with my boyfriend. Thank you. It's really upsetting. So I got to the airport and my flight was delayed for 4 hours. So I thought, maybe I can do one last goodbye with him, really stretch it out. Pain myself even more. So I checked my bags through, but the good news is, I got there, I was feeling pretty low, but the good news is that I got an upgrade to business class, which from New Zealand to the States is a big difference. So I'm very happy, I get very excited, and immediately all I want to do is share the news with him. So I ring him up and I say, look, hi, it's me, we've done our big Titanic, we love will go on, all that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back into town and I can see you again, because he had a present to give to Claire. Remember Claire Stansfield? I've stolen her identity, getting slowly closer to looking like Lucy and Claire. Do you like my hair? No, all of you, do you like my hair? Anyway, back to my story. So, I go to get my car, and I realise that the ticket from my car to get out of the car park is in my bag that I've checked. Ouch. That's okay. So I get on my flight, and I realise, because I'm in business class, I get a free access to the lounge. You know how the Qantas has a lounge? So I can go there and eat all the free food and drink the free booze and, make the flight better. So I go there and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll just have a little plate of food, and I'm filling my plate, and I go to the bar and I pour myself a drink and I sit down. And I'm feeling all very sophisticated because everyone around me, they're all businessmen and high flyers. And I'm sitting there in my jandals and my jeans. Yeah, upgrade. And the first mouthful of my wine, boom, all over my crotch. So I very quietly get up, surreptitiously scuttle off to the toilets. And I get to the toilets and they've got a shower and a sink. The toilets are really big. So I'm sitting in the bathroom and I think, look, I'll just splash a little bit of water there, clean it off, no problem. Because I'm not getting on the plane with a big red stain there, you know. I'm a business class man. I'm part of the high rollers club. You know, a girl wants to look good for business class. So I get in the bathroom and I splash a little bit of water, it's not working. So I have to take off my pants. And I think if I just hold that little area where it's thing just underneath the tap, it'll be fine. It is so not fine. I wet from here down to there. So I've not only got red wine stains, but all of my pants are completely wet, and they're a light pink colour. So now they've gone a dark pink, a purpley pink where it's wet. And I think, okay, hold on, bing bong, there's a hairdryer there. I'm going to dry my pants with a hairdryer. So I'm standing there with a hairdryer. This is going to take forever. And then I hear this, bing bong, flight QF25 will now be departing at gate 8. And I'm like, that's my flight. Oh no, I've got completely wet pants. I'm broken-hearted. So, what's a girl to do? I managed to I had my jacket, thank God, so I had to wrap my jacket around my pants. Quietly walk onto the flight, into business class, sit down, thinking, oh, my head will be held high because I'm in business class, but it wasn't. It was like, I was sitting there like this. Immediately get the blanket and put it over me, and everything's fine. Anyway, I'm sitting next to this lady, who must have been the grumpiest lady in the Southern Hemisphere. The negativity that was emanating from her was so overpowering. It dried my pants. So... Everything's good at this point, right? We're about 2 hours into the flight. I get a little bit of self-confidence back. I can eat my meal with a bit of pride again because my pants are dry. It's all looking good. And they come around, they give me a bottle of water. I put it on the armrest. They take my food away. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to watch a movie or two. I'm reclining. And she gets all pissed off because my bottle of water, she's like, no, fuck. Now, I don't know if you know what it's like to sit for hours with wet pants. It's bloody uncomfortable. So that was just the first couple of hours of my journey. Okay, well, in regards to Effie's attitude in that first episode, considering how many times I auditioned for Pacific Renaissance, I'm not surprised that she had an attitude, you know. I think it was just, in the script it was like, she was the antagonist in the piece. So my role was to be a snotty little so-and-so and to create some drama between Xena, Gabrielle, all of that. And then it was nice because it gave the character a place to go. It gave me a place to go. And when I was invited back, amazing. I was able, of course, then they kind of resolved the relationship and I got a place to go with Effie.
Are you interested at all in politics?
Personally, I am myself, but not to get involved in running for anything. I deem it to be a part of my responsibility as a citizen of my nation to be involved in my government and politics. I live on this earth. Why shouldn't we be? Going against a lot of what politicians are about, and the certain sort of governance that happens in a lot of countries. But I certainly don't support apathy. I think it's a shame. And if you want to have an opinion, then know about your country and vote. I mean, in my country, as I imagine a lot of countries in the world, with people that haven't had the right to vote, i.e. Minority groups and so on and so forth, and now that's not the way. You need to stand up and be proud of who you are, and if you can't vote, find a way that you can, because the smallest voices joined together can somehow be the biggest. So, and I love that. Like in New Zealand, we have a female Prime Minister. We also have one of the first transgender people representing one of our districts down south. Which is amazing. And but anyway, away from that, I was thinking about women and Sonia Davies, who was one of the first women in the world to be able to who allowed women to vote. Back. We're talking about New Zealand having pioneered a lot of really interesting things for women in voting. For me, being on stage is a natural part of who I am, what I do. But being on stage as me is a completely different thing. And when I remember my first ever convention appearance, and if it wasn't for the amazing amount of support and unprecedented applause, then I wouldn't have lasted up there. And through the support from the fans and through creation, I guess, just to allow me to be here, to enable me to get up and share my stories and share myself. You don't get that opportunity that much, unedited. And messed with. So people can really see, I can allow them to see who I am and my sense of humour and what I like, what I don't like. And it's a rare opportunity to be able to do that. So I revel in it now. I love it. I get a nice sort of high, this adrenaline high before I go on stage. Yeah, and it's not necessarily a contrived experience for me either. Like I'm very humbled by it. I like getting up there and just seeing what comes to mind and seeing what the audience brings as well. There's always going to be people or situations that arise that you can feed off or whatever.
Help me out. What was the episode where I was on trial with the Amazons? Well, that was all the episodes. But specifically, I had my new cool green outfit. And I was walking through the woods, and all of a sudden which one was it? I think it was, okay, Path of Vengeance. So everybody knows about the breakaway staffs, or there's breakaway chairs, or whatever you're using when you're in a fight. So I'm in the trial, and it's this big circular thing. We're surrounded by all of the Amazon queens. I'm in the middle, handcuffed, and Renee is there at my side. This is right before the big boxing match. And, she's there defending me as an Amazon queen herself, trying to work through all of the details and get me out of there. So it's time to throw down, and she's got this staff. And if she breaks the staff, it means that she is putting herself up in my place, and she's going to fight another Amazon queen. Hence, Chanina Jolson, Varia. Yes, woohoo, Chanina. So we're in the middle of this take. And in a rehearsal, you never ever use the breakaways because they only have a couple of them. So you'd be screwed. You only have one or two to actually break during the scene. So it's very dramatic. Renee has her staff. She's supposed to grab it at the appropriate time and break it over her knee. So the appropriate time comes. My life is in the balance. The drama is high. She grabs the staff. Nothing happens. So she tries it again. Nothing happens. So I come over. We're both trying. Nothing happens. So we set it down and we're trying to break it with our feet. Not a thing. At this point, we're probably laughing so hard that we're crying. It was hilarious. Needless to say, this did not make the final cut, but it was really good for us. And of course, they made the breakaway much easier after that. Woo, that was a good one though.
So my first day on set, my first scenes, in fact, my first week, I worked almost exclusively with Kevin, which was great. He made me so comfortable. He's so funny. He was just the most warm, caring, but funny guy. And it was very stressful. My very first day, I had one of my biggest fight scenes that I had been prepping for a couple of days. They were running so far behind. So it was the very end of the day, and they were losing light. And I had to get this fight scene, then go immediately into this make-out scene with Kevin, immediately into the special effects shot with Kevin, all of this is new to me. They're so running out of time. They had smoke and fire and horses. There were about 100 extras in this shot. It was incredible. And I was definitely overwhelmed. I mean, I was stressed out and concerned, and Kevin was just so great, so helpful, and just funny. I mean, just kept breaking the tension again and again, and was so, there with advice if I wanted it, or just purely support, which was great. And that was my first week, really. In the very first episode, I spent a lot of time with him. Our characters were very much together. And it was only my 6th or 7th day of work that I actually worked with Lucy and some of the other cast members. And by that time, I'm really grateful that it worked out that way, because I felt so much more on my feet and in charge of the character, and that I just knew the routine. So by the time even more people were involved, I was an old pro. Or at least a little better off than I was a few days prior.
I had another question about Path of Vengeance.
Uh-huh.
The one where the Amazons, they've got you in the circle and they have that thing around your neck. And that was a very convincing scene, because I'm always going, God, how do they do that without hurting you? Or how do they shoot that scene?
Right. Yes. I don't know what you would call that contraption that the props guy came up with. The day before, I was supposed to have been burnt at the stake. But they thought that this was somehow weirdly too symbolic or something, so they asked the prop people to come up with an alternative that would fit the Amazons and be still humiliating and scary for me and all of that stuff. So I walk on set to find the dog collar from hell that I'm supposed to deal with. Now, granted, I mean, all of that stuff, it's so fun when you have to play scenes like that. As long as you can get over the immediate weirdness, it's actually so much fun, because I'm entirely in charge. What they do is, all of those particular Amazons were stunt girls, and they would just hold on to the ropes that were attached to it, and I would be the one that moved, and they would simply pick up the slack. So I was the one who was acting like, oh my God, my life's in danger. And, they just went along with it and made me look good. But, I mean, let's also review that one, because this is so funny too. Now, granted, that thing looks scary. It's bizarre. But really, why is a collar with spikes pointing out? Why is that hard for me to deal with? So it's kind of funny. But then, the prop guy was like, well, you can't see them, but you're supposed to get that there's spikes on the inside too. That's why it hurts so bad when they pull you. And I was like, okay, I'll deal with that. And then I love it. Afterwards, I just have a couple light bruises, just some little light bruising. Not a problem.
Fighting was definitely difficult to learn. I picked up choreography very quickly because I'd been a dancer for years and years. What took me so long was actually, I was so afraid I would hurt someone. So afraid of that. And because of it, my first few days of fighting, when I was just learning everything, I looked horrible, because it didn't look believable at all. And then one day, we were in the middle of this fight, and Lucy stunt double, actually, she miscalculated and hit me on the leg with her sword. I mean, hit me full force. And I thought, if I can take it, so can she. And it was great, because then I just realized that was the worst that it basically is going to happen. And I had a great bruise that I was really proud of, but they're so careful that worst case scenario, a bruise is what you're going to get. And they're into it. That's what their job is. And I just learned right then and there that to make it look real, you've got to put some effort behind it. So that changed everything. And from then on, I loved fighting, just loved it.
This is back in the day when, 25 years had passed. So suddenly Ted was like 700 years old. And this was during the summer, or the summer there. And the heat he had to get up so early to put all of this prosthetic makeup on. But the sun would make the makeup melt. So it was horrible, and it had fumes, and I mean, truly, he had the worst job at that point. But it was so much all the time, and combine that with the melting and the fumes and everything else, and the fact that he couldn't really wear his glasses, and it was really difficult to put contacts in, et cetera, and so forth, he basically couldn't see. So it came time for him to run towards me in that scene, and he would just fall like 4 feet before he ever got to me. We did that scene so many times. He turns around, and it's supposed to be all dramatic, and down goes Ted. So finally, the director had us get a little bit closer so that if he made it anywhere in my vicinity, we could just fake it. That somehow the two of us would make it work.
Just the world of voiceovers in general is a completely new thing for me that I got into this year. But amazingly enough, my experience on Xena has helped me tremendously because I didn't know what I was walking into. I'm not someone who really does character voices, although I give each of my own characters their own distinctive personality traits and even voices sometimes, but I don't do cartoons and things like that, so I wasn't sure what I was getting into. To be honest, all of the looping, the endless hours of looping that I had to do for Xena just paid off tremendously because I know how to work in a booth. I know the range of my voice and what I can do and what I can do to change it when they're looking for something else that's more specific. But it's great. I mean, the best voiceover actors, the best voiceover jobs are when you get into it. It's not just your voice. Even though you're not on camera, you're still moving to a certain extent and getting into it and physically trying to, embody that person so that it feels appropriate for what you're doing. But it's so much fun. It is so much fun to do. And it's quite quick. It's much faster than looping, generally speaking. It's very specific. They know exactly what they want, down to, please say this 3/4 of a second faster. So you just have to try. Some people are brilliant at that. I'm still learning that part of it. But it's been so much fun. The video games have been a blast. Commercials are fun. And I'm pursuing cartoons and things like that. So yeah, it's great stuff. I love it.
One of the oddest combinations of my Xena part of my life and my working part of my life actually happened on the Dawn. And it wasn't the Xena cruise, which pretty ranks up there, actually, as one of them. But one of the oddest things that happened to me is when Dawn was in the shipyard in Papenburg, Germany, which is a small place in the very north of Germany. And she was being built, and she was in a shipyard, and most of the people there were Germans, and they were also people from different countries, because it's on the border of the Netherlands also. And the cabling crew that was in there was from Malaysia. And they were all young men. They were probably 20 to 22 to 23 years old, and they spoke very little English, only a few words. And they were all about this tall. So we called them the Malaysian Cable Boys, because they all had names that none of us could pronounce. So we would call them, lead Malaysian Cable Boy, and then Malaysian Cable Boy 1, and they were fine with that because they couldn't pronounce our names either, and they couldn't talk to us. So that was fine. And once they gotten over the fact that I wasn't part of the cleaning crew, because there weren't a lot of women in Papenburg, okay, I think I was the only one there for at least 4 weeks. We worked a lot together, and we actually got through the language barrier, a lot of pointing, and of course, when you're talking about technical stuff, there really is only one way to say Ethernet, and there is no way to translate that into Malaysian. So, we got our idea across, and we became quite friendly. It was quite a cultural exchange there. So one day, the Malaysian Cable Boys asked me to come down to their cabin for a beer. Okay. So we go down in the cabin of the Dawn, and those of you that are on the Dawn, it wasn't on one of the top decks, it was down on deck 2. Okay, where I don't think any of you ever went, right? Okay. Down on deck 2, they have rooms for 6 people. Now, if you have a cabin, the cabin is maybe the size of a regular bathroom in this hotel. Okay, now imagine 6 people living in there. Imagine 6 people living in there for a month. Imagine 6 people living in there for a month with limited plumbing. Okay, do I need to get any more graphic? Okay. So I walk in there, and it's kind of a little intimidating, because you're walking in there, there's these 6 guys who I know slightly for a couple of weeks, and they're inviting me down into their cabin for a beer. And they open the door, and they flip on the lights, and I walk in, and I'm faced with an entire cabin wall full of Xena posters. I stood there and just... I was just like, okay, it was like a time warp. It was like completely different. You went into a different world, God knows where. And they saw how shocked I was, and they started trying to explain to me, no, in their tiny little limited English, they felt that I was shocked, that they had, and it was mostly Renee posters, that they had these pictures of half-naked women. And it of course was funny because, I've been in people's bedrooms that probably had the same posters. But for a different reason, and they were really shocked. That I was shocked. So they finally got across to me that that the reason that they really liked Gabrielle was because she was their size, and she still really kicked butt.
How much of a challenge was it to go from writing prose to writing a script format? Ren Pix and Rob made it easy for me because they sent me. I went into it with an open eye. Just, I don't know what this process is. I don't know how to write a script. So I went into it completely open. I did not take the fact that I wrote prose into it with me. I just said, this is a process that I have no familiarity with. Familiarize me with this process, Rob, so that I know what it is that you want so I can give it to you. And so that's what he did. He basically gave me these guidelines, gave me these rules, and gave me examples, and basically said, this is how a script needs to look. And that's what I took into the writing. And once you get the structure down of script writing, of how you need to do it, and how it needs to look, and the beats, and how many pages per thing, and how many minutes you can have a scene, once you understand the structure around it, then you're free to write through the dialogue the emotions of the characters. So it really is actually much easier than writing prose, because you don't have to describe what Xena and Gabrielle looks like, because they're there in Technicolor. I never thought first in prose, because how I write prose, which is why my stuff is so long, is that what I'm basically doing is I'm letting a movie run in my head, and I'm describing everything that I see. That's why so much of my stuff is so descriptive, and it has, I describe how grass looks and how garbage smells and all the rest of that, because it's a vivid picture in my head. And so if you're writing a script, all you have to do is you run that picture, only you don't have to describe all of it. You just have to write what their characters are saying. You just have to write that down. And it's actually an easier process. Ren Pix did a great job of translating what I saw in my head to what I saw on the page, because pretty much what I saw in my head is what I saw on the page. When I first saw Legacy in its rough cut version in New Zealand, I was there to see Coming Home film. Rob said, you want to see your episode? No, right? I sat there with a couple of the staffers from Xena that were there, and they hadn't put final music in. It was just the cut before that. And just to actually hear the words that I'd written come out of Lucy and Renee's mouth was an amazing experience. And it had actually sounded and looked exactly as I imagined it would. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, they nailed, even the inflections and the way they nailed the emotions were exactly what I pictured when I wrote the scene. And Rob explained later that, well, the fact is that I was a fan of the show, and that I knew to some extent what acting choices Lucy made and what acting choices Renee made. And so, of course, I've imagined it correctly, because how many times have I seen them?
Hit it, George. Yeah, and we'll see how this goes. Enjoy.
One fine day, you look at me, and you'll know our love was meant to be. One fine day, you're gonna want me for your love. The arms I've longed for will open wide, and you'll be proud to have me right by your side. One fine day, you're gonna want me for your girl.
Oh, so you want to get up here and sing too, huh? what a good thing.
Didn't I make you feel like you were the only man? Yeah, oh, fuck. Didn't I make you feel like you were the only man? Yeah. did. And each time I tell myself when I think I've had enough, well, I'm gonna show you, baby, that a woman can be tough. I want you to come on, and take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Take another little piece of my heart, oh yeah, come on now. Have another little piece of my heart now, baby. You know you got it if it makes you feel good. Oh yes, it
Are you ready? All right, Ben, hit that DJ button.
First I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. I spent so many nights just thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along, and so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I could have changed that stupid lock. I could have made you leave your key if I just moved just 1 second to be back. Follow me, go now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Once you the one who tried to break me with goodbye. You think I'd crumble? You think I'll lay down and die? Oh no, not I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll be alive. I got all my life to live. I got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. Hey, hey.
No evening of me getting my Eucharist robe is a complete Medal of Bobby Darin. So here's one I haven't done before. That's the couple. Let's see how it goes, shall we? Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships like a sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to your arms I'd go sailing. It's far beyond the stars, it's near beyond the moon. I know beyond a doubt my heart will lead me there soon. We'll meet, I know we'll meet beyond the shore. We'll kiss just as before, and happy we'll be beyond the sea. And never again will I go sailing. Give me some, Billy.
You guys remember Sin Trades? All right. How many scenes did Renee O'Connor and I have together? Oh, where? White shirt? Right there? 0. You got it. I couldn't believe it. I got to Auckland. Where's Renee? What? What do you mean she's not in this episode? Not fair, but I did get to see Lucy almost naked, so ha, 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 ha. What's that? I think so. So there's got to be worth something. Yeah. Lucy looks good naked.
Has the audience clued me in as to why Cyan was so popular. I've had some good response from the the massage scene. You know, it was funny. I actually did 2 episodes of Cintrade, the season opener, 2-parter. And it was such a great character, Cyan. You know, she was strong. She was Queen of the Amazons. It was, I think, sort of destined to be a fun character to play. And it was a little risque, you know. Cyan and Xena got a little naked. It's always a good thing. It was funny to hear the feedback, though. I mean, you know, my bum got censored in New York, and apparently you're not allowed to show buns. There's a little fuzz mark over my bum. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just been really lucky with the conventions and the appearances, and really fortunate to follow up my Xena appearance with a series with the same company, with Cleopatra 2525. So I think all those things have kept Cyan alive throughout the years, the conventions.
Do you know what? She asked if I had kids yet, and it's funny because my good friend Gina Torres is here. And we were, you know, of course, we did a fabulous show called Cleopatra 2525 together in New Zealand. And, you know, babies, you know, crew have babies, and Lucy had babies. Like, everybody had babies, but we didn't have babies. And we thought, oh, God, babies are fabulous. We want babies. But there's something about this whole child birthing process that seems very unnatural to me. And I keep thinking in like 100 years they're gonna look back and go, can you believe how they used to have babies? Like, you know? So, yeah, the answer is no. I imagine, you know, there's gonna come a time when I don't think it's unnatural. And maybe it'll happen then, but until then I have a dog named Angel. She's a little rescue. She's kind of a mystery mutt, but she's part Rottweiler and part Chow as far as we can figure. She's so great. She's like this big. She's like 45 pounds, about the size of a Chow, but she has the markings of a Rottweiler. And Gina asks how in the world I could have found like the 2 most vicious breeds on the face of the planet, put them together in one dog and make it my own. And I'm like, how could I have anything else? But she's lovely. She's wonderful and affectionate, and I love her. She's great. My baby. Yeah. So what's TJ working on? Pleasuring me. What? I'm on fire! See what happens in the snow? You get frisky.
Mutant X is doing really well. We are just finishing up the taping of season 3. We have 2 episodes left to go, and it's changed a lot since the beginning. You know, we lost 2 cast members, we gained another one. I really like the changes that have happened. I think it's kind of an exciting show, and I get to do some fun things. Right now, I'm training with the circus, and I'm not even kidding. Shalimar goes into the circus. So I've been training with these trapeze bungee people, and I have to do an act. So I rap and I go and train with the circus, and I thought that would be funny if that was Shalimar's swan song. If that's you know, no one, I don't die, but I ran out to join the circus. Made the producers a little scared. They're like, "What do you mean your swan song? It's too early. Don't go." But yeah, I get to do some fun things. I really enjoy myself on that show. I've got a great stunt double. Her name's Alicia Turner. I tried to get Zoe on Mutant X. She was in town for the stunt awards. Zoe Bell, my stunt double on Cleopatra. And I think it was, you know, the different unions take care of their own, and the Canadian Stunt Union, you know, they had girls that they thought would work. I don't know, you know, it wasn't going to work for Zoe, but I mean, she went on to do Kill Bill, which is fantastic. But my stunt double, Alicia Turner, she's fantastic. We have so much fun, you know, on set and off. We hang out off set as well. She is a blast. She's really good. But she's not going to be doing my trapeze stuff. I have a circus performer. They found a circus performer who looks similar enough to me that she can sort of fill in the holes that I can't do.
You actually brought somebody up, which I would love to bring up, because this is actually the first convention that I've done in a while. And I just need to say, God, I miss Kevin Smith so much. He was, I mean, I don't know how many of you actually had the pleasure of meeting him and seeing him live, but he was beautiful in every sense of that word, inside and out. There was not a malicious or mean-spirited bone in that man's body, and I just miss him, and I'm just sad that he's not in the world, in this present world. He's up there watching, and he's probably having a really good time. But yeah, I just wanted to say that and acknowledge him, because he's been missing from these for a while. Fortunately for me, Renaissance didn't seem to have any hang-ups in terms of race when it came to casting the part of Nebula on Hercules. So I just came in and donned on my little outfit and just did the best that I could in terms of the material, because it was so wonderful. It was just such a meaty part at that time, and I certainly had never seen anything like that written for man, woman, beast, you know, white, black, Latina, you know, whatever. So I'm just so grateful to have been able to do that. Dana is bringing up an article. I did an interview for Black Enterprise magazine. It's on your shelves now. It's for the February. It's the February issue. I'm on the cover. And it is the basis of this story was the Afro-Latino. And I don't know how many of you know this, but I am of Cuban descent. I'm Cuban American, first generation Cuban American. And we are sort of a forgotten population. Most Latinos in this industry are usually depicted in a very typical historical way. They all kind of look like Desi Arnaz or Rita Moreno or Jennifer Lopez, and they rarely look like me. And it's just a wonderful article on what life on the edge or on that line is. So if you see it, pick it up, read it, get a glimpse. It could be very educational. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, check it out. It's a great cover. I'm very proud of it, too. What a lot of people don't know is that I was cast as Nebula first. And the episode of King of Assassins was coming up on Xena, and Rob Tappert, having known me and my work, said, well, Gina can play Cleopatra. So we'll just hire Gina. Ask Gina if she wants to play Cleopatra. I shot Xena first. There was a break. And then I shot Hercules. So my first experience as part of that whole world was actually as Cleopatra and Xena. Bruce Campbell directed King of Assassins. And I had a little crush on Bruce Campbell. Yeah. And I got to kiss him on that show. And he was, he'd call for me and call me my little turtle dove, and I'd just be ready to go and very excited. But again, competent, absolutely great fun, great energy. Just great energy to work with, and he keeps you informed, and he makes you part of the process, and that's really all an actor can ask for.
I have a question about Alias. Mm-hmm. It seemed to me between Anna and Cindy that there was some sort of a little bit of subtext, or I don't know if there was something else going on there, if it was all in my mind, or if it wasn't intentional, or was that really all in my head? I mean,
to what are you referring?
I don't know. It just seemed like there was something a little bit more there between. I don't know if it,
when you say more,
like some sort of sexual tension, chemistry sort of
thing. Sexual tension.
the kiss of the...
A kiss?
Yeah, well, you know,
Oh,
kisses.
yeah. Yeah.
Help me out here.
Sydney and Anna kissing
In the tree.
in the tree.
Or was it just something that we saw and that wasn't really intentional? Or...
Well, let's see.
Killing me here.
I'm sorry. It was not intentional. Let me put it that way. But we certainly saw opportunities where that sort of was able, we were able to kind of play that up.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's it. Thank you. Because baby, that's all that matters. Bruce Campbell was playing double duty. He was yes, he was acting as well as directing King of Assassins at the time. And he, his reputation is there for a reason. He is absolutely a cut-up. What you see is what you get with Bruce. There really isn't that much of a difference between the man that ends up in front of the camera and the guy that's working all the puppets behind the scenes. But that's refreshing. To some people it might be unnerving, but because it's so clear that he knows what he's doing, it just made it that much more fun. When did you leave heaven? How could they let you go? How's everything in heaven? I'd like to know. How could you trade heaven for all these earthly things? Where did you hide your halo? How did you lose your wings? Oh dear, the Matrix movies. Yeah, it was really hard going into a project where nobody knew anything about it. No, working on the Matrix movies, it was such a kick to sort of to be in on the biggest secret since, I don't know when. I mean, unlike The Lord of the Rings, where everybody had read the books, there's an idea and there's a following of what was going on. But this was all in the brothers' heads. And it was when it was finally committed to paper, there was, all this secrecy, and you had to sign confidentiality agreements and just madness. But to be a part of something that's so huge, that has really become part of the iconic structure of, historically speaking, of today, it's great.
And imitated so much the style of filming
Oh,
they did.
God, I saw Lassie doing something the other day in some commercial. I mean, just some, that's insane. Yes, absolutely. So, what was that word?
Iconic?
It's like so iconic and yeah, and flattery. It's very flattering. It's so flattering to be imitated in that way over and over. I mean, no one's imitating me per se, but the fact that movie has struck a chord with so many people, and I think it's because it speaks to a great number of belief systems. And I think in today we are sort of lacking. We are quite lacking in something to believe in, and it's sad. And fortunately and unfortunately, this movie has become a belief system in and of itself, which is a little disturbing. But it also speaks to how hungry everybody is to really hold on to something and say, okay, what's real, and how much am I responsible for in making things happen?
the Xena movie, which is what I think everyone wants to hear about. And then I'm going to ask some questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and get ready and get going in the question room there. First of all, this is the update on the Xena movie. As I said last year, I have pitched an idea, and I have a Xena movie to write. I have a story outlined and ready to go. There's a complication with the rights issue between Rob Tappert and Universal Pictures. It was a 6-month time period which had to expire, in which Universal had to decide if they wanted to, option the rights or give them back to Rob to then make a movie, which is what he has to have before he can go forward. What he's told me now, I've just talked to him as of last week. Oh, and also Lucy and Renee are both committed to doing the movie. So look at this big line of people. Are there hot dogs back there? I mean, what's... So as the movie would stand now, if everything went forward, you would have Lucy and Renee and me writing the movie. The director has not been determined. However, now Rob has lawyers who have to get the rights from Universal, and that is exactly where we are. So the period has lapsed in which he can now get them. He's actually in the process contractually of getting those rights, in which he wants to move forward with the movie. So there's really no one to write to because it's all legality now. It's a studio. It's literally like someone selling a car to a car. It has nothing to do with. At this point, I'm approved and fine. Lucy and Renee are approved. Everything's fine except now signing these contracts, which is, it's a big. There's a pain and it's behind me, but it's going to be done. And as soon as that's done, I think they're going to hope to announce it. But I'm just telling you where we are in the process of it. Last year I remember telling you I was buying the rights with a book with Gillian Anderson. We still haven't finished our contracts. They're going back and forth, and now there's 2 issues left on something to do with awards and soundtracks. So that's how long it can take. Hopefully, because they don't want to make the movie, they want Rob and everyone to make it. They had to wait for the time period to expire. They're not causing a holdup, and we're not causing a holdup. So it should go much quicker. Actually, what a fair answer would be is I am not going into the middle of the series. I'm not taking away 25-year jump. I'm not doing anything that requires you from going in any space within that series but from the finale on. So it will take place from then on. Because my point of view is then the finale always still exists, and that's your ending, and I'd rather take off from that and have a new ending. So that's that helps. Truthfully, that is why I think they worked as a couple, as Xena and Gabrielle. Is because there was colorblind casting and everything, and there was gender casting that was blind as well as colorblind casting, as you're saying. I think that's why you believed everything was the world they lived in. It wasn't questioned. Actually, I would say one thing that you just said, as I said, they were a family. What I loved about nomadic people in a show and in life in general, which does bleed over into present day, is you do create your own family now much more than you used to. Like you were saying, you used to stay in your village, you never left for the majority of, planet Earth pretty much, and then you have a boat, and then you have a car and an airplane, and now people do wander everywhere away from their family, and they get the grace to create a new family, which is what they did. And they picked up. She found Gabriella's family, and then Joxer was family for a while, and people came in and out of their lives. So that's wonderful. Like my movie Prince and Me is coming out, and I'm really excited about that. It's a big movie. It's coming out at March 12th is the release date. Immediately after, in April, the movie Carolina that I wrote is finally coming out. It's already been released, as some people know, on DVD, and it's already played internationally. And try if you can. You don't have to support them because I'm asking you, but try to support them or women-driven movies is really my message I'm trying to get out. Those are both lead movies with women, written by women, directed by women. Both of my movies, both of them, I'm still a woman, and both directors were women, and the leads are both women. So we're trying to get women work in this business and support them as women because that's all the box office cares about. So even when you look in your paper every week, if you see a woman maybe wrote that or directed that, try to get out there and go to the matinee or something and just support that so we can keep that going. I'll tell you my favorite Lucy story since she's not here and we have Renee, and Renee can tell you the Renee stories, but there was a scene when we were probably everyone's, I don't know what you've heard, but there's a scene where Lucy was going to be put up on the cross again for in the ending of the episode. And she was sitting there, and they're bringing the water out, and she's standing there being drenched, and the water jets are going to come down on her, and she just turns, and she looks at me, and she goes, "I hate you." I felt the love. I knew I was coming back for another episode right then. And I said, I looked at her, I go, "But why?" She said, "You're making me die again." And I looked at her and I said, "But you do it so well."
I really enjoyed playing Marcus. Being Zena's only true love, and whatever guy might say might not like that, too bad, because Marcus is her only true love. Let's just let that be known right now. Anyway, Marcus was a bad dude, man. He killed people just by, because he thought about killing. He just did it. But Zena saw something different in his heart, and he saw him as a kind, decent individual. And that's why his goodness, when he died, he didn't go to the fiery side of the underworld. He went to a staging place where Xena came down, and he summoned Xena to come down and help him fight evil. I just thought that was great, that a person that struggled with good and evil in life, and then in his afterlife he struggled with doing good. So I thought he was a great character. It was fun, and it was great being Xena's lover also. I think I could say that.
Yeah. See, Marcus got to be Xena's lover, which is so cool, And Darnell, originally in the White Pages, was an ex-lover of Xena. And then they cast me, and I think that idea got scotched pretty quickly, Only a certain caliber of guy can be an ex-lover of Xena, so they cast me, and they just went, oh, well, he's just a gladiator guy, who just happens to know Xena from somewhere. Darnell and Michael and Mercer. I'll tell you about playing Darnell, actually, because that was good fun. That was back in Series 3. And the character was meant to be this charismatic, bold, sexy guy. And probably that time in my life, I felt about as charismatic and sexy as cottage cheese or something. I just wasn't feeling it. So I thought, how am I going to get through this? And I went, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this like Kevin Smith. And Kevin was a great mate of mine. And I just, that was my little Kevin Smith impression. And it was so cool. I wasn't playing Darnell, I was playing Kevin Smith. I was playing Ares, And it was so much fun. Smithy did that episode with me. And we were both trying to kind of out-butch each other, Like we were having what we call the Nashua photocopier ad competition, which was to see who could do the lowest voice, like Orson Welles in the Nashua photocopier ad. And Smithy won, of course, because he just won at everything. He was outstanding, But no, Darnell was good fun.
Working with Lucy was a great experience. She's one of the nicest actors, period, that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. It was great fun. She was new to the craft, I think. I don't know if she'd been acting that long, but she's like a sponge, and she's very giving, and she is. I don't know what the word it really is, but she's so accommodating and giving and trusting, and it makes you trust yourself even more, and it causes you to be even more creative in your choices.
Have I ever been asked to play a wuss? My wordy lordy. The first role that I ever played was a gay barman in a TV show called City Life. And my lover in that show was another completely unwussy guy, Kevin Smith. So, yeah. So, have I ever been a wuss other than that? No, that was my one wussy role. To play a gay character, it was all about love, you just transplant your feelings of heterosexual love and just turn them into,
to do what you would do with your girlfriend or whatever, and whatever that relationship is. It was a great role to play. It was quite good fun actually, because it's pure acting, you know.
This is a question for Michael. I always wondered about how, about Michael. Sorry, Charles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They just called me Michael on set.
I
They
know.
didn't say Charles once. Yeah, Mike. Yeah. Mike,
Yeah.
stand there. Yeah.
The wings. Sorry, it's a question about Michael. I always wondered about, the character sort of went through a transition from being, the stately biblical guy, and then he sort of turned, I don't know if he became a little manipulative, and how did you play that change? What did you think about it?
That's a very good question, because the first time the character got introduced on Hercules, he was a bad guy, who then turned out to be a good guy at the end of the episode, and then in the next episode, the first episode of Xena, he's diving into the pit of hell to rescue Gabrielle, and then a few episodes later, he's out to kill Xena's daughter, and as an actor, you kind of go, okay, rescuing Gabrielle, killing Xena's daughter. I can do that. I can bridge. No, I can't. So I'm going to turn up and I'm going to say the lines and I'm going to try and mean it, and I'm just going to hope that someone else out there can put it all together and make it work. It was very interesting. I mean, the stories like Xena, fantastic show. It's very much a plot-driven show rather than, except for Xena and Gabrielle, it's not very character guest-driven. It's plot-driven. So we tend to serve the story. And if the story needs Michael being a good guy, we'll do it. And if he needs him being a bad guy, then hey, it's all good fun.
Yeah! Glafira and Darnell going off into the sunset. We hoped. I mean, Glafira and Darnell were kind of the Beatrice and Benedict of the Xena universe, My favourite moment in the whole Xena experience was getting my thumb sucked by Glafira in the infamous apple scene. It was absolutely wonderful. Yeah. We kind of ad-libbed that moment. In the script, she's pulling a scam over Darnell, Darnell, here's an apple, how would you like a bite, And she takes a bite, and then the juice is running down Darnell's fingers, so she's playing Darnell along. She licks the juice off his fingers, that's what was in the script. And then somehow my thumb found its way into Katrina's mouth, and she went with it, and I went with it, and I'm amazed that it made the cut, actually, because it was very adult time slot kind of thing, but it was fantastic. We just sort of made that up.
When you come on as a guest star on a show, first of all, you don't want to make any mistakes because you're visiting, so you got to come in and do everything right, know your lines and stuff. But what they did for me, I happened to have my birthday when I was there, and they fixed me a great cake and had a big song, "Happy Birthday" for me on the set, and I didn't expect that. And then that's how they made me feel so warm and so welcome to be a part of the cast. They had a big old cake. It was cool. I was like, oh, how'd you guys know my birthday? My passport and visa and all that, of course. So they knew it was my birthday, and they took the time to make a cake for me and sing me happy birthday. And I felt at home because I was thousands of miles away from my wife and my kids. And so, for them, Daddy, they'd always been around Daddy for his birthday. And this was the first birthday my children weren't able to celebrate with me. So it was kind of a big deal.
The wings hurt. The wings were heavy. Between the flying harness, which sort of gets you down there, and the wing harness, which pulls you back there, it's very hard to do sort of graceful, angelic, Michael the Archangel acting, But you got a bit of a workout wearing the wings, 30 pounds of wings. It was good fun.
Well, Brad was supposed to, fill my time, I guess, because I didn't want to be bored at the hotel on the weekend when not working, right? So he said, "Bobby, you want to go riding horseback?" I'm, "Yeah, man, I know how to ride a horse." So we started riding this horse. It was cool, and we were riding out. We went to where they made the piano, the black sand beach, and it's really beautiful and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So it comes time to go home, and we started going back, and the horse just took off. And I'm riding on this horse is flying. It's like, it's out of control. It's flying down the beach, and I'm just screaming. And Brad, all he sees is his job going out the window, because if I fall off this horse and break my hip, he's done. So I'm screaming. And there's a mountain. Well, I don't know if it was a cliff, but it was a face of rock. And the horse was going straight towards it. And I'm hoping he sees this rock, or else we're both gonna get smashed. He stops, and I jump off. And so, and then I had to go relieve myself because I was scared to death. So Brad says, "Bobby, you gotta hold on to those reins." So the whole way back, man, I had that horse, I wrapped the reins around my neck, and I'm just like pulling them back, and I said, "I'm in charge." So that was the whole thing. I had to be in charge of that horse. And I learned that when they're ready to go back to the barn, there's nothing to stop them. So you have to grab that rein and you say, we'll go back, but at my pace, not at yours. So that, Brad, where is he? I'm gonna find him.
I had a TV series called Pensacola Wings of Gold where I played with James Brolin. I was a fighter pilot, Hammer. I trained my fighter pilots. Thank you. I had a series before that called The Cape where I was an astronaut. We actually shot it at Cape Canaveral. I actually saw 5 shuttle launches, which was really wonderful. If you've ever seen a shuttle launch, 4th of July won't do it for you ever again. I mean, because it lights up the sky at night. We're 3 miles away from the actual launch site, but you swear it's the sun that's going up, and you can see everything around you when the shuttle lifts off the ground. So that was amazing. In fact, doing Pensacola kept me from doing more Xenas. In fact, they tried several times to get Marcus back on several occasions, but I was already booked on another show and was not available. But I would have loved, because I didn't know people knew who I was. I was in the mall, and a little kid says, "Hey, there's Marcus, there's Marcus." And I was like, "Whoa, you know who I am?" Well, yes, I am Marcus.
It's fantastic to see a sexy lady kicking butt. And that's huge.
Right, she was a positive image for women. I mean, strong, she was independent, she took care of her own business, she saddled her own horse and all that stuff. So I think it was very empowering for young ladies to see a woman that strong, but yet she still was gentle, she still was compassionate, she still cared. And I think that's why it was so popular.
It's so true. I mean, you look at all the other shows on TV, you know, Pamela Anderson running down the beach, jiggling, and, you know, women are not empowered by that, you know, and then you get Xena, you know, fantastic character,
yeah,
and fantastic show.
And when they said, "Why don't you come along to it?" I thought, great, yes. We'll see what it's about. And it seems to be an extraordinary social event. I saw you in the pub the other night. That's a bit of British musical, you know that thing. One evening last October, when I was far from sober, returning to my home with manly pride, my feet began to stutter, so I lay down in the gutter. And a pig came near and lay down by my side. It was wintry, dark and raining, but we lay without complaining, till a lady passing by was heard to say, "You can tell a man who boozes by the company he chooses." And the pig got up and slowly walked away.
Was there anything in your youth that prepared you for playing a god?
The appalling church background I was pushed through, maybe? No. Well, yes, I mean, you know, I did become aware of ritual through the dear nuns in the early days of that. But no, of course not. How can, you know, I mean, it's great fun, isn't it? To pretend, and all of our world is about let's pretend, or what if. I mean, it's great fun to play Macbeth, isn't it? Well, I mean, you can imagine. And it is to be an Iago. Oh, some of these people. Who is it who once said, and I think it applies to a lot of us actually, I only really feel alive when I'm acting.
A lot.
Do you know that that's the time when it's all so heightened? And indeed, if you've been fortunate enough to do some of those roles, you've had a taste of that. Everything else would be pretty flat afterwards. I mean, after Xena, you know, to be in an office and be natural and normal would be change of pace. Then you really want wonderful text, brilliantly funny lines to say.
Can you talk? Do you remember Meg Foster was your
Smashing.
Hera? Can you talk a bit about working with Meg Foster?
I can't give you any kind of funny, oh, this happened and that happened, I'm no good at that. But I can only say that she was extraordinarily generous to me. I hadn't done one. She'd done them before. She was also quite familiar with the form. You know, that kind of science fiction world of play. And was inordinately helpful to me and generous as a person and of course as a player. Normally when they are as a person, they always are as an actor too, you know. Yes, yes. And those eyes of hers are so extraordinary, you know. I just found myself just looking at her. I never did see the episode because, you know, I can't bear watching it myself, so you never, no. It's a busman's holiday. Oy. No. It's much better you say to your wife, you know, you watch it. How was it? Was it all right? Was there a laugh? Did we get a laugh? Okay, all right. Yeah. And you start, I've done one production of Lear, playing Edmund the Bastard, which suited me at the time. I was a bit younger. Prospero, I had a go at once. You know, he's that wonderful one who says, our revels now are ended, and these our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this, insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a wreck behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. It's great stuff, so you'd love a chance. So you'd love the chance to do some of those roles again and maybe try and get it right. To have a go at King Lear, which always seems preposterous, because with Shakespeare's roles, you can never get them right. They're always bigger than you are. And it's always 2 weeks after you've closed in the production. I don't care whether it's the second or third time you've done it. You're sitting on the toilet or you're in the shower and you go, oh shit, that's how I should have said that line.
What was it like working with Lucy and Renee? Or
What was it like
working with Lucy and Renee?
Oh, fabulous working with Lucy and Renee. And I knew Lucy from before the whole fame thing, so that sort of broke the ice there. And so she was, you know, kind of a mate and a fabulous person, never changed at all. And Renee, I just think is wonderful as well. And got to know her we kind of did a regular actors workshop thing. Group of us, and Renee was part of that, doing scenes from Shakespeare and Chekhov and you name it. And she's really kick-ass actor, absolutely. You know, she really is. So lovely.
I have a sort of a Lucy story if people want to hear it. It's a bit rude. Okay, all right. Well, in the scene in the day in the life we were shooting, and Renee had to have fish thrown in her face, which was one of the most bravest, wonderful things I've ever seen in acting, is just to have these, and they're no small sardines, they're large fish
being scaly, they hurt.
Pounded into her, like they were really, you know, I think Lucy wanted to actually throw a few of them. I think she got to do that. And when we were shooting the reverse, and we were, you know, looking at the camera, that's right, it's over and above, and Lucy's picking up the fish, and throwing the fish over her shoulder, and then we cut to the fish being hit in her face. I remember I'm sort of sitting there, my character is supposed to be admiring and totally in love with her and thinking how amazing she is. And all I could see was these horrible old holy underpants. And I thought, Lucy, did you just go out and buy yourself some decent underwear? And I just go, and the more she bent over and deeper she got the fish, the worse it became. And I was just like, and Renee's being slapped in the face with this huge mackerel sort of a thing, you know, and I'm not sure she noticed, but... And it's, you know, you can't really say anything to people like that, you know, or you'll never do another episode, which I never did.
Well, if there's a movie, Murray, I don't fancy your chances now.
I'll direct the movie and I'll just make sure she's got some decent underpants.
Well, people asked me last time what the guys were wearing in the hot tub scene. And from memory, it was those really sturdy, wardrobe department, black Lycra bicycle shorts.
I think Lucy had 2 bottle tops and a cork on, I think.
You weren't there. You didn't know.
And they cut our hot tub scene, of course. That was...
Oh, was that hot? Oh, yes.
Did either of us work with or know Lucy before we did Xena? I did. I'd done a comedy series called Funny Business
That's right.
with her. And,
Great, brilliant.
Yeah, and done acting classes with her, and had dinner at her house actually one night when she was doing Hercules with and met Kevin Sorbo, and it was a whole new phenomenon. What is Hercules? What is it? Well, is it ancient Greece? Do you wear a dress? I said to Kevin, thinking that he would be wearing a toga and things like that. And he was, oh, no, I'm lots of leather. And I was quite disappointed. I thought he would look quite nice in a dress. I think I might have offended him. So that whole new thing was sort of crazy and new, and we didn't really know what it was. And then Lucy became this whole huge phenomenon, but she never changed. So working with her was always very, very cool because she was always just the same, just Lucy. So.
Yeah, she was. I did a kind of a famous biscuit commercial called Meal Mates. Do you like a meal mate? And you get the mate, and you got hounded by people. It was a horrible commercial, but Lucy was in that, and we got quite a lot of turnover on that on the commercial, so it was paying a nice little earner every time it came back every year because it was sort of popular because it was annoying.
No, I would love to. Working with Alison is fantastic. I think we really suit each other, and I would dearly love to do it again.
It was good casting, I thought. So, someone said we looked like,
it was. Michael Hurst is such a fantastic director. Being an actor himself, he's a pleasure to work with, and
he knows the genre.
He knows his actors too as well, and I think he did a really good job of actually pairing people up who work together really well. I think the episode, I might be wrong, I know Stephen's here somewhere, but they wrote that episode particularly for shooting after the Christmas break. And what they did is they got an episode where you don't see the giant till the very end. You never see the invading armies. It's all just hearsay and reportage. So what they ended up writing was a really fantastic character piece, which gives you a really good shot at actually having a bit of a journey through the episode with your character, and having a lot more lines, basically. And I think that's really, at the end, what endeared people to the episode, as well as it being well-directed and everything.
And Michael's naughty, too. Like, he knew what he was doing when we had Lucy coming out of the water and going like this.
And there was the hot tub scene.
The hot tub scene. He's a naughty boy. He likes to push the envelope.
And did you like her character? Did you like her character?
Yeah, I did. I liked the fact that she was such a goober, and that that she was so not Barbie. There was this Barbie world going around with all these beautiful people, and hers like, give up, But the But the good thing about her is that she never knew. You know, she always thought, yeah, I'll do it. I can do it. I can read. So, you know, what's going to stop me, you know? You know, and I'll kill the thing, and I can probably get in there with Aries, you know? Why not? So that was quite good.
It is a very hit or miss, lifestyle. Why do you think you've stayed in it and not given up? What do you get from it?
What do I get from the life? Something that I don't think I would get in any other job, which is satisfaction of doing something well when you do it well. And I don't think I would do other things very well. I can't imagine me being a judge. I think I would just let people go, and I don't think I'd be a very good drug dealer because I'd kind of get shot or something, There's nothing I really imagine myself doing. And I stick at it because, I think I have, sadly, something to offer, so I try and just keep going.
Why am I still involved in it? Oh, I think that acting's and theatre and performance are very interesting because they involve humanity, emotions. They're very sort of intangible and ephemeral in one way. You can't, kind of nail it to anything, but it's sort of like a reflection of life and people. So it's kind of uses very interesting ingredients as something to kind of work with as your stock and trade. I think it's quite.
It's a mixture of a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of psychology and physiology and
music,
danceology and vocalology,
like timing and things.
It's
and
all
observing
of the
people
sort of together.
and observing.
Yeah. You got to be like people or be interested in people.
Yeah.
Or, a bit mad and a bit sane and all those things. Makes up it. So actors are a very interesting. Hence why we sort of see them everywhere and on pictures and that. They're quite close to humanity, whatever humanity is in a kind of way.
Yeah, and play, I think, too. That's the other part of creativity, that it works when you are really having fun and playing and not thinking about it or trying very hard, So it's sort of a bit zen in that way. You do it the best when you're really not caring or doing it. So
People
sometimes
think it's fun. People use the word fun. Acting must be fun. It's all that pretend, but it's really hard work. It's very hard work, On a show like Xena, and if you've got a full-on day and you're in every scene during the day, you're in your costume, your hair, you don't really feel great because your makeup's so sort of dirty and sully. And I think Star Trek would be kind of interesting. They're a bit more cleaner and tidier and inside a little bit more, but you're outside and the weather plays a part. And, by the end of the day, on a big shooting day, you're shagged, and then you go back the next day and start all over again. And, people like Lucy and Renee who've been in the show a long time, that's really hard. They do it day in and day out.
Just the thing of having a shower that is never clean, like it's always brown from the body paint. Things like that for years must be.
Yeah.
And your skin,
It would just be.
And always that pressure of learning the lines for them. And when you come in as a guest, it's exciting and fun and meeting up with people that you haven't seen for ages.
And if you don't get it right or you don't feel like
pressure.
it, then everything falls apart. You've got to lead with that sort of thing. It must be really hard. But it's rewarding, at the end of the day. You see it, you like it, it's great. It's been wonderful. You've all been fantastic, and it's been very positive to see. It's really nice to see how something that you do, and we did do it a long time ago, lasts and affects people a lot longer than the day it's aired. And that's a good sign of something of quality and of something of meaning and substance. And I congratulate you all on being part of that, because it's you people that keep that alive and keep it special. And I'm overwhelmed by all that.
when RJ and I started working together, one of the things that he and I used to do is we would just go someplace locally, sit there and start vamping ideas, or we'd sit in his office or my office, and we literally would just throw everything out, and we'd end up laughing all over the place about ideas. And he walked into my office one day, and I guess he'd been talking this over with Rob, and he said, I want to do an episode where we see all the stuff that we never show anybody. And I said, well, like what? And he says, I don't know, anything. How they wake up, how they cook their dinner, how they, go to the bathroom. I don't know. And I said, well, with the exception of the last thing, it's going to be pretty boring, don't you think? And he said, well, I don't know. What do you think? So we had to figure out some of the problems with doing something like that. Every episode, as you notice, has a plot conflict, okay? That plot conflict pulls your characters through the entire episode. Well, this thing had a very, very thin plot conflict. It was waiting for something to happen. So there was nothing to pull them through. So how do you make that entertaining? Most of the times when you're watching a show, you get to the end of the scene and you, the audience, are saying, oh, I wonder what happens next. These scenes, when they ended, you were like, oh, that was funny. What are they going to do next? So when we were playing with the ideas of how to make that interesting to the viewer, one of the conventions you're going to see while we're doing it is the blackout, which is, blacks out and then it says what they're, cooking food or whatever it is, looking for food. And I forgot exactly how that came to being, but I do remember it was in my office and we were discussing how to do that transition. And I said, something, we can't fix it, so why don't we just stop the show and go in front of the screen and say, we don't know how to get to the next scene, but here it is. And I think RJ said something about doing the blackout. And I said, well, you could also super something over it. What's coming up next? And then, quite honestly, I don't know where the Greek came from. I thought that was really funny. So we had to break a few conventions on this one. And I looked at it this morning, dragged it out again and watched it. It's a very funny episode. I had forgotten half of that stuff. But the interesting thing about it is what it said about the characters and their relationship. Those scenes that we don't normally see, quite honestly, RJ, myself, Rob, Liz, Chris, everybody else working on it, we didn't realize exactly how important that was. Because what you're actually seeing in the episode is stuff that we know as writers, because we have to know all this stuff. We have to be able to answer these things to ourselves. But then we say, that's just subtext knowledge. We don't need to know about that. And subtext only in the sense of that's background knowledge. So now we decided to put it out there. And it took on quite a bit of a life of its own and became one of the most popular episodes. And I will try as much as I can to steal credit. No, because I didn't write the episode. There were some things in there that I remember when I saw it and I went, oh yeah, that came from something I said. But the truth of the matter is, when we write these things and we get into a room, somebody will say one thing and somebody else will say, oh, we can't do that, but what do we do this version of it? And then the other person will say, wait, or we can do this, or we can do, and then boom, 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 it bounces all over the place until finally you have something you want to do. And I'm trying not to talk too much about particular scenes because we're going to get there, but I will mention one. The scene which is waiting for the giant, and Xena's sitting there. Okay, one of the most hysterical scenes. Interestingly enough, in the DVD commentary, which has Lucy, Rob, and Renee talking about that scene, they're saying, well, I think Michael Hurst came up with that idea and talking about that. Now, actually, the truth of the matter is, it wasn't the script. And I remember exactly when it started. It was, once again, back in my office. RJ and I were talking, and he was talking about the fact that he had to have a scene where they were just sitting there doing nothing. And I'm sitting there with my little koosh ball, which I think I threw to somebody, and I'm wondering, how do we fix this? And I'm tossing it off the wall. And somehow out of that came the idea that, well, she's had this chakram, it's a part of her. Don't you think she would twirl it or something when she was sitting there thinking? And then RJ went, no, she wouldn't twirl it. She knows every angle that thing will do when it leaves her hand. She would just unconsciously, ching, ching, ching. But when you watch the scene that is hysterical about me is Renee. Because it's no big deal. Talking, 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 ching, 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 ching. Talking, 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 ching, 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 ching. Talking, talking, talking. It's like a totally casual thing.
It's like a.
Are they good?
Look at her face, like way in there.
How about them oranges?
I'm trying to work this button. Oh, there it is.
Sharon's.
All right, it's rolling.
So I'm waiting for the car. So basically, we're guerrilla shooting this little interview, Sharon, in the middle of Los Angeles, in front of somebody's yard, as I just picked an orange off their fruit tree. We have to wait for the cars, pause. So it was this sort of quick, fast rehearsal, trying to get everything together. Sharon and I have had a good time trying to, go from getting 90 glass marbles, which I thought I had to have, because the mother chose 90, to choosing maybe 5. Once I realized I will be my own stage manager and I will be having to try to pick them up and then move on to the next monologue. So this has all been sort of an interesting experience. I'm working with... What?
Why did you want 90?
Why did I want 90? Why did I want 90 marbles? Why did I? That's a very good question. What the heck was I thinking? No, I sort of liked the idea that the mother takes the time to pick out 90 marbles. She believes she only has 90 days to live, and that she actually chose each one by hand. I don't know, that was just kind of sweet and sentimental to me, especially because, she is my mother in this monologue. So I thought I had to have 90 marbles. So originally I wanted to do as many as 7 monologues, but then I realized with 3 weeks to try to get this together, I just could not absorb that much material. So what I did is I went through and I just chose the certain monologue that points busy around here, isn't it? That's what you get when you're guerrilla shooting. I chose the monologues that I definitely identified with, and I kept going through trying to find what's the theme here and why is it important to me. And it seems that in all of them, for me, it's about sort of ending crucial relationships. So I've tied it into my finishing the Xena series and how that's affected me in the last couple of years, being away from my friends and family and, my other identity and Lucy. So, and the other reason I liked this play is because it's all these different women, they're different faces in society. In the play you have daughters, you have mothers, you have innocent people, you have jaded, cynical people. I obviously couldn't do them all, but where am I going with that?
You're gonna do each one here?
So I guess we'll go to, first one I'm gonna do is 15 minutes, and it's an actress, so that obviously rang true. And what I like about the actress is that she takes away the fourth wall. She actually gets into the audience, not literally, but talks to the audience saying, look, I'm exposing my soul here. Be open-hearted, come along with me, and wouldn't it be great if you could expose your soul too before the play begins? So I liked that because what I've been working on myself is just trying to get back into my acting with an open heart, because I've missed the show, missed my family, but yes, so that's good for me. And then I chose The Handler. And The Handler is about a woman who handles snakes. And what I like about The Handler is that she has this spiritual awakening. She's with this group, a very spiritual group, and she suddenly realizes that there's more truth in believing in herself. So I identified with that, obviously. Just, again, getting the confidence to get back out there and get in front of the camera, because I've so enjoyed being behind the camera. The next one I chose, actually it's one of the first ones I did choose, is Clear Glass Marbles, and it's a woman who has the ability to say goodbye to her mother. And it's just such a sweet story, because how many times do you actually, well, if you have to say goodbye, it's beautiful to be able to go through the transition with the family and say, okay, this is it, you know. So again, it's about ending a crucial relationship, and it's beautiful. And then I chose the rodeo, and the rodeo is kind of back down to my roots. She's a Southerner, and I chose her because it reminds me of this lady that I sort of knew, or I remember knowing in Texas. The real rodeo, you know, the real people. And again, it's about, well, on one hand, it's about commercialism versus creativity, and on the other, it's about a woman who pause for sound. And the other reason is, because it's about the integrity of a group of people who start something for the love and passion of the art, and it's completely bought out by capitalism. And it reminded me of the beginning of reality television and how it's completely destroyed good shows. So I really feel passionate about that too. And it's fun to play this character because she's just fun for me to play.
Does she have an accent?
She has a Southern accent, but she's real ballsy, and I'm having a blast. And it's a nice contrast because Marks, which is the last one I'm doing, she is a woman who, again, has a spiritual awakening, and one of her crucial relationships ends. It's her identity ends. Basically, who she thought she was is not who she becomes, and she talks about this in her monologue. And I think it's great. I mean, to me, all these women, I think all of them, they basically deal with like a universal truth of of love, of ending separation with how you feel, being truthful and open, and that's why I wanted to do this. And I wanted to do it for the Xena Gang because they know me and I've changed a lot, and they will understand, you know, like my mourning of the show, like my pining for all my friends and things, that they'll understand that. So I just kind of wanted to do it, have fun, and that's why.
Give me a hug. Come on. No, you can stand up talking like that.
Oh, she's so sweet and so old.
Well, I'm not going to take that too personally.
Not yet.
How you doing, Chris?
You're going to turn you on.
Oh,
Board
okay.
is down.
Oh, I
at
can't
0.
talk. Shh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Can I have that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me read this. Okay, so. Renee, I've got a two-part question for you. Like, what was it like kissing Lucy Lawless? And did you get to rehearse? Oh, actually, it's three-part. Is it true? There's a rumor on the internet that you had to stand on a box. That Lucy had to stand on a box.
Yeah.
There's a rumor on the internet that Lucy had to stand on a box when you were kissing. Is that true? Okay. Just keep doing this. Hello.
I'll do.
After I direct you, I'll ask you a question.
How are you?
Hello.
Do you know who that guy is in the green shirt? Yes. Oh.
Bart, can I have a bottle of water, please? No, I'll get on stage. Oh, which way? Okay. Big fun.
Stage just as a fallback. I actually got more of the slides.
Sunshine. Hi, honey. How are you doing today? All right. Oh my God, I've gotten really old, haven't I? Yeah, so. Oh dear, I should have got a haircut for this one. Oh well. Too late now.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us in a warm welcome for Miss Renee O'Connor.
I got this little. Oh no, y'all just talk amongst yourselves. I'm trying to work out this old mic thing here. I don't know how many people actually have a video put to them, huh? Now I tell you, this Gabrielle outfit worked for a long time. Maybe that's why they got rid of the headband. Oh, it's so good to see all of you. So good. Oh. It's all right. I just got a bad leg, but I'll get there. How are you all? I am so glad. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. Now, hang on. Just put that right there. You're looking really good. Wow. Yeah, you're taking really good care of yourself. What are you eating? You know, I was getting ready to come here today. And my great-grandson, he said, Nana, where are you going? I said, honey, I'm going to a convention. You should have seen his face. A convention? But why? I said, because I'm going to see some old friends. And that young boy looked at me and he said, but Nana, why would you wear that? I said, honey, because I can still get into it. You know, it took me back though. Old friends. It took me back to that last day of filming. I don't know if y'all remember that. I do. That last day, I remember we had just completed that last shot. And we were waiting, you know, we were waiting for that gate to be cleared, the gate where there might be a hair or a scratch inside the camera. So I was waiting, and I got this feeling, a little bit of a nervous feeling, you know, like I knew something monumental was about to change in my life. Kind of sad. But I waited, and I heard this clear gate. And then old Rob Tapper came up. God, I love him. He came up and he said, for the first time that I could remember, and the last time, that's a wrap. It was a strange feeling, you know, you felt sad, but you felt happy. Pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of hugs, you know, there's a lot of kissing. Yeah, and then it suddenly got really quiet. And we had, oh, honey. And we had our lighting boys come over. These are a bunch of rough, tough-looking guys, you know. Tender hearts. Can you hear me okay back there? No. I'll try to speak up. My voice might crack a bit, but you'll hear me, right? So anyway, my rough and tumbly old lighting boys, they came up, and everyone got really quiet. They started to turn their focus over to Lucy and I. thought, this is really strange. And then they brought out this little box here, and they gave one to Lucy and I both. You see this? They gave us this box, and I opened it up, and I looked inside, and there was a piece of a green stone. Now in New Zealand, the Maoris, it's my Texas accent, the Maoris, well, they call this a healing stone. And it represents the essence of the earth and divine energy. And I want to tell you that every crew member held this stone for as long as they wanted, for as many days as they wanted. And they shared their love for us and for the show in this stone. Isn't that nice? I want to tell you, though, our nurse, Sally Ford, said she slept with it. She slept with it and said she hoped that a dream would be revealed. But she said instead she woke up with a sore neck. Well, there you go. But anyway, there was more. Not only did they give Lucy and I each a piece of stone like this, and they fit like yin and yang, but the rest of the stone was split up into little pieces and passed around to every single crew member on that show, so that together we made one whole part and one whole family. Now, I gotta tell you, it took me a long time to get over those people. I miss them so much, so much. But then you love the show, and you know how much love and effort we put in that show, didn't you? You know. Oh, well, it took me a long time. But I remember when I started to put my little Bard here to bed for me. It was at a convention, and it was in Burbank, and it was 2004. And I remember I chose a bunch of monologues. I chose these monologues about other women that were like me, that had a personal relationship that they had to let go. And I remember the music I chose. It had an Appalachian feel to it. It was called The Second Time Around. Yeah, I liked that one. How this thing came off, aren't you? I'll tell you, I had a lot of help. I'm gonna need this. Y'all are too nice. They go together. Wow. Try to push him. My little Gabby. Oh, I wanted to. I was going to say thank you. Thank you. And I'm getting emotional again. I want to thank Julie, who, she's my teacher. And she's teaching me how to have an open heart. Sorry. This woman teaches other actors like me to have the courage to be all we can be all the time. And I'll tell you that is really hard. But thank you so much. So,
I know some people might have had some questions, and so maybe we'll take a couple, and if anyone can't hear it, rather than come up here, if you shout it out, I can repeat it for the rest of the crowd.
Yes.
What?
Oh my God! What are you doing?
What was it like kissing Lucy Lawless?
What was it like kissing Lucy Lawless?
Oh! I can't believe you didn't tell me.
Oh, you're not supposed to bust me, man.
We couldn't tell you. Oh my God. You don't understand. I've seen Lucy. I've seen you. She always.
Who are you, lady? Mister? Lady? Mister?
Oh, funny.
Pat.
Oh my God.
I just wanted to know what it was like kissing Lucy and like. I think a lot of people want to know the answer to that question, Renee. And did you like get to rehearse? It's a two-pronged question.
Let me show you.
And like, there's a rumor on the internet that like she had to stand on a box to kiss you. And that play was really rocking. It really was.
I didn't know you were here. I was wondering. I went back to get my staff, I guess, and I was wondering who was that?
An infection?
That's my Lucy. No, I saw this person. I was like, wow, that's really bad hair. Oh, there you go. Here you go. I'm glad you were here. You look great.
This is the only way I can come and watch you perform. Because you rock.
I believe you.
Are you Mike still?
Yes. Give me that back.
So you had some questions from the audience, right? I don't want to hog this. Oh no, that was just a lie, actually. You don't get any questions. How long were you preparing that play?
3 weeks.
Because that's not very long, is it? That's really good. And I really like the snake one. And the last one especially. And you look really beautiful in that robe. And your hair looks pretty. Aren't you going to say my hair looks pretty?
No. You crack me up. It's always something.
You were supposed to come to my house this week, and it didn't work because your baby got sick, and then we just had too many sickness everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, I heard my little mic. Yeah. We were going to have a slumber party because I haven't seen Lucy for a long time.
And we got some catching up to do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring like cans of Ready Whip so we could have a fight. But we can wait for the slumber party.
Oh, God. Oh, man. So what is this? Where'd you get this anyway?
Well, you think this is a
It's
costume,
Rob's.
don't you? But actually, it's mostly from my house, and this stupid thing I really do wear because when you're carrying kids, you know. And this I borrowed from a lady backstage because I left mine at home. There's another lady with really bad hair over there somewhere.
Can you take that off?
I
Can you take off the wig?
No. You know, there's a lot of things I'd do for you, but I can't take my hair off. If my hair, I don't have no character without my hair.
That's okay.
I
Take
don't like
it
your
off.
tone, lady. I will trance you.
There are going to be some lines that stick, right?
So what are you doing these days? You're doing some plays?
What am I doing?
You've been making a movie.
We made a movie.
When can we see your movie?
In about 2 months.
Fantastic.
It's looking good. Rob Field has cut it for us, so we saw the first cut.
And he's a
I know where
genius.
Helena is. He is a genius.
Is he here?
But
He really is.
Rob's not here, I don't think. Diamonds and Guns. So it's fun. No, we're having a good time. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Pretty.
Oh, what else? Oh, my goodness. What'd you do? What about you? What have you been up to? Now that I haven't seen her, what are you doing?
Oh, I've been taking a course of photography at the local
Seriously?
school. No.
Yeah. What are you doing? Have a seat. Let's pull up a chair.
I've got a headache now. I can't even think straight.
Take the wig off.
You
My
think-
mark off.
What'll be next, huh? Be gentle with me, Renee.
Gonna get Lucy to let down her hair. Doesn't take much.
I really don't
you.
like this. Okay. Anyway, so I was just coming along because I wanted to see you because I always. I've never seen you performing on the stage yet because last time you were on the stage, I just had a baby and it was just bad timing. And I always regretted that, so it's awesome to see you and to say hello to everybody and just to be cheeky, really, because... Nothing better to do on a Saturday afternoon.
I'm glad you were here.
So, well, thank you, and thanks for having me. And now, my eyebrows have been mascaraed in. They haven't really grown together. Okay. I think this is probably time for me to leave and send you on your merry way. There's an auction. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend, and thanks for having me. I'm just, snuck in. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. Good night. Thank you so much. It was a great time again. Always. Bye.
You can go a little slower, Alvin. Thank you, because I'll work my hat a bit more. Then I'll be pissed off that I always ruin my hat. Shit! Damn. Rodeo's just going to hell in a